Hello, this is Dan Hebert, principal at the Hebert Agency. Today, we're interviewing Ron Mead, the CEO at machine builder Casa Herrera in Pomona, California. Ron has been at Casa Herrera for 15 years. Before joining the company, Ron spent 30 years in the dairy industry. He started as a machine operator, then progressed through various positions, including supervisor, plant superintendent, plant manager, director of engineering, and finally, the director of manufacturing for the Western Division of Baskin-Robbins. Ron, why did your company feel a need to upgrade the control system for your next generation tortilla production line?
Well, Dan, basically we were trying to stay with state-of-the-art controls for our equipment. As things developed, we saw the needs to help the end user with diagnostics and also the operator interface to handle situations as they develop. The new system allows for a lot more just looking at all the different parts of the line on a continuous basis to give real-time feedback.
So the new system provides a much improved operator interface, improving the operator experience. It also provides superior diagnostics, which helps from two standpoints. One is the maintenance people have to maintain the production line at your customers' facilities, and I would assume it also helps your company when you're doing remote diagnostics on the system.
Exactly. Yeah, that really helps us to help the customer, and it's a real time saver. Instead of having to load somebody onto a plane and have them go out and hook up, we can do it through the internet, look at it real time, and get feedback from the customer as we help them make changes to correct any situations that may be arising for them.
So your upgrade, you determined you needed to upgrade to improve the operator interface, improve the diagnostics, improve remote access. Were there also some performance issues that you wish to address and improve upon?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The speed of the new system and its capability of looking at all of the different points that we wanted to look at so quickly allowed us to do some things mechanically that we can do simultaneously and get feedback to make certain that everything is functioning the way that it's supposed to. With the older system, it wasn't quite fast enough, and when we were trying to do a lot of things simultaneously, we found we were limited in the number of things we could do because one would overrun the other because of the short period of time that was available. The new system affords us plenty of time to look at all those issues.
So the increased speed helps you with synchronization and coordination of various parts of the production line among the different machines and among the different operating aspects of each of the machines.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, you determined that your existing control system was not going to be adequate to do all the things that you wanted to do to help your customers operate their plants and their production lines better. So you went into a selection process. And can you describe that to us, the selection process that your company followed when you were looking for a new control system, which really would consist of a new controller, a new HMI, and a new motor control system?
Yeah, just a step back just a little bit. We try to get continuous feedback from our customer base as to things they would like to see and things that are important to them. Then we take a look at our equipment and we see how we can integrate those things into a system and how robust that system has to be in order to accommodate all those needs. And those were some of the things that we were looking at when we were investigating the opportunity of upgrading a control system.
Understand. And so your selection process, how did that proceed?
Well, typically we try to take a look at all of the majors. We have had some experience with Automation Direct over the last few years. We made the choice of moving to that platform sometime back because we thought it was so much easier for the customer on his end to diagnose problems, and it was a lot more cost-effective than some of the other platforms that are available out there. And it had nowhere near the complexity, but it offered a lot of speed and feedback that was a benefit to the customer.
So you found, when you compared Automation Direct to the alternatives, you found superior performance, lower cost, and simplicity of operation.
Well stated, exactly.
And did that simplicity, was that from two standpoints then? Was that from the design of the machine and the programming of the machine and also the machines, I should say, and also the operation?
I think that it was more the programs that were embedded in the microprocessor itself and its ability to recognize a lot of stuff which from a programming standpoint, you didn't have to go out and create a library and draw all that stuff back into the system in order to make everything function properly. So there was a lot of things in the system that was intuitive that recognized the components that were being controlled.
Yes, the auto recognition was a big benefit up front in terms of the design.
Tremendous.
Yes. Well, now you have the new control system up and running on the entire tortilla production line. You also have some of these systems installed at customer sites. What type of advantages are your customers seeing as compared to the control system that existed before?
Well, one of the things that they like is the robustness, if you will, of the diagnostics. It allows them so much of the interface to go to each one of the portions of the control system and identify if a breaker is tripped, or which is a tip-off that there's a problem with an overload somewhere and what that overload may be causing. It gives them a direct look to very quickly identify a problem and work on it, rather than having to troubleshoot an entire system to find where that problem might be. They really appreciate that because it considerably reduces the amount of downtime. Downtime on a production line is an exponential number per cost.
And it seems to me when we were looking at this system that some of the capabilities of the controller were enabling those diagnostics. For example, the memory that the controller had allowed you to scan in pictures. Those pictures are used to pinpoint specific problem issues. There's overlays put on those pictures to identify specific part numbers that need to be replaced, and that guides your customers' technical personnel directly towards the source of the problem and also gives them the solution that they need. Is that a fair summary?
That's very accurate. One of the major advantages there is that you don't need a person who is so technically astute that you can't afford to have them sitting on their hands, waiting for a problem to develop. This stuff is pretty recognizable to someone who is lightly versed in mechanical or maintenance type operations.
So it's intuitive enough that it can be maintained by your customer's operating personnel and your customer's technical personnel without having the need to have a control systems engineer always on standby.
Absolutely.
And that's critical because that's how a lot of plants are operating these days. Now, let's just talk a little bit about your future plans. You're going to obviously continue to make improvements and enhancements to your tortilla production lines. And how do you see your new Automation Direct control system fitting into these plants?
Well, we really see, some opportunities there. We're developing new equipment all the time. We've got a new system that'll be coming out in a couple months here, and the capability of controlling that on a real-time basis is really important to us because there are so many functions that are going on so quickly that it's going to really be an important factor. We'll keep looking at Automation Direct as they come up with new ideas and new platforms, and we're willing to test those because we have so much confidence in them right now. We have a tremendous amount of backup from Quantum Automation, their local distributor here, and also from MEMCO as far as programming and troubleshooting is concerned for getting the initial program proper so that it's easily recognizable by an operator.
So you mentioned three companies that are really involved here. We have the supplier, who's Automation Direct. We have Quantum Automation, who's the local value-added reseller for Automation Direct. And you have MEMCO, who's a local systems integrator that did a lot of the design on the control system. And they're all partners.
And they are. We don't claim to know it all, but we try to go out and find the best resources that there are available and utilize those resources on a regular basis to improve our product and try to give the customer more bang for his buck.
That makes a lot of sense, and in the end, that's what it's all about, is taking care of your customers. Well, Ron, thanks a lot, and we really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Anytime. Thank you much.
That concludes our podcast. Thanks for listening. This is Dan Hebert, principal at the Hebert Agency, signing off.